Persuasive speech, audience shown. Hello, my name is Miguel Salgado, and for my persuasive speech, I decided to persuade my audience on why college athletes should get paid. Everybody loves college sports, or if they don't, they have probably seen or heard about a big college game coming up. But no matter the popularity of the college team or player, at the end of every game, no matter how good they play, they will end up not getting any of the income from their college for the game they played. The manner of how college athletes are treated by the university's policies can be considered borderline criminal, if not slavery. The amount of revenue obtained by the NCAA ranges in the billions, and they have yet to support their athletes that supply the demands of their main consumers. Problems that occur for the athletes range from injuries to cost of their own supplies and demand to sustain both their living situations and their education. In this speech, I will present to you why and how college athletes should get paid by playing in their college teams, and break down the income of colleges that have received the sports benefits of playing in tournaments in college. If the universities were to pay their athletes, they can better the performance of their athletes and help mitigate their costs. For these reasons alone, I shall expose just how corrupt the systems are for college athletes and the solutions to save and better the system. The profits of the NCAA has reached an astonishing $14 billion as of 2018. The value in this alone should be able to take care of nearly 500,000 students that represent them without drastically hurting their profits, but still show little to no support into the players and just treat them like they're disposables. Not only are the players unable to make money directly off their plays from the university or the NCAA, but they can't make money from other organizations or donations, thus completely restricting a major way of making a direct income. This in itself is a significant flaw for an athlete, as the average amount of time they put into their craft varies from 40 to 60 hours a week. The risk of sports injuries for a student athlete is sometimes very drastic for the player. Statistics reveal that 90% of student athletes report some sort of sport-related injury, and 54% of student athletes report that they have played while injured, while 37% of college athletes say they have experienced a sprain. 12% report that they have sustained concussions and head injuries from their time on the field. In 2012 alone, these statistics show that injuries are always going on and that are always going to be a threat to any athlete making or playing into any sport in the college that they have chosen. A big risk factor which comes into the injury is that it goes downhill from there for their sports career, leading to the college that they find a replacement, or if their injury is serious, they can take you out of the team. Thus making injuries the biggest reason to give college athletes payment towards their cooperation to the team, because they aren't only risking an injury, they are risking their whole life's work by making it this far. As Senator Chris Murphy stated, college athletes are paid with a scholarship, but the reality is that kids in these big programs are full-time athletes. Many of them don't graduate, or if they do, they don't get the same education as their peers. it's time for that to change. What Chris Murphy stated thus far tells the underlying truth behind how athletes are being exploited by the universities they represent. As less than 2% of student athletes in high school even get a scholarship and are mostly for a single year. Once listening to the problems they have occurred, we must ask ourselves, for what results have this been getting on? The idea is that college football's main scheme is to sell an illusion. This illusion for many is to be a part in a spot in a professional league for the sport they are playing for. After college football, only around 1.5% of athletes would get into the NFL. This example is only a minor but similar rate to which the general percentage of athletes will go pro as less than 2% of all college athletes. This already supports the argument that college football and many other sports are an increasingly bad economic bargain. We see here that many college athletes are blindly willing to take that cost, but there is a way to make this fair for them all, thus leading us to our solutions. After listening to the problems here, our solutions college can make towards paying their athletes. Now, after hearing the problems to which the NCAA and the university policies can cripple their own athletes' success in life, we must now confront the adversities that stop a solution from being created. The adversities stem from both the value of the sport and the value of the player. One argument would be, how do we value the players and how do we value the athletes from the same sport that they play in? Not all universities are in the D1 ranking system as well. Not all the players are promising enough to make it into the professional leagues like the NFL or NBA. To that, we can make a range of payments based on how efficient in the position in which players play. For example, if a wide receiver makes an average of 3 to 2 touchdowns, they should be paid a high value. While if a defensive lineman follows their position correctly and stops the opposing team from scoring, then they should make a high income. For this system to work, there would be a value cap for the position an athlete plays with a minimum wage for a below average player or an undervalued player to put part in. Also, these athletes' tuition bills should be a monthly to a tri-monthly payment, thus so it can match the system to which they are being paid, so they can pay their tuition and the fees that come on. The players that are very exceptional can have a decision to either make the maximum cap to what the university can offer or choose to not get paid for a full ride for however long they play for. This system would account for both equalities, as everyone would be in a range to which they can be paid for, but also would be fair for those who are really good at their sport, as their payments are based on their performance, meaning that they won't really truly suffer, but whose focus mainly on their sport can thrive on it, and those who are having an off season are still making enough to pay their tuition and able to take care of their important necessities. In conclusion, with a system like this, the players will both have securities and reasonable chance for a financial future. Like the rest of the students that attend the university, and thus this can be a grand start to having college athletes being paid and fix an underlying issue that might come across on. College sports are a huge thing in the United States and they make millions of dollars every season. So it's only right for them to give a portion of that money to the college players. And with that comes the end of my persuasive speech. Thank you for staying tuned and have a good night.